Hello, everyone, and welcome to another round of interview with an awesome author. And you'll be amazed to know her because she's the youngest author I have worked with, and I'm proud. I'm very, very proud of working with her. Her name is Meher Munshi. She is born in Florida, 30 minutes from Disney World. She grew up around Mickey Mouse and white sandy beaches of Florida. She's kind, smart, emotionally intelligent, and she's in seventh grade. She's often called as an old soul. Uh, she loves spending time with herself. That's one thing I like about her because if I tell people, can you spend time with yourself? They cannot. They need something. They need devices, tools, friends, people because they don't know themselves well. She knows a lot about herself, so she spent time with herself. Like she has a wonderful friend, her dog. Her name is Lily, and she spends a lot of time with Lily too. Her favorite hobby is reading books, and I really like because we always say books are the best friends. And she went ahead. Not only she read books, she also loves writing, and we are talking about the book she wrote called Cheese Chili Toast. What a wonderful name, Cheese Chili Toast. So we're going to talk a lot about this book, about Meher, her life, and how book came around. So thank you everyone for joining in, and thank you Meher for joining this interview. I
Hi,
want to know first thing about that's a beautiful name. It's called Cheese
thank you.
Chili Toast. So can you talk a little bit about what's why the name is Cheese Chili Toast?
So the name actually was it's like the food cheese chili toast. It's cheesy, it's gooey. There's chili, it's spicy, and it's crunchy. It's like all different things mixed into one to make something delicious, something amazing. So that's what I felt like my book, Cheese Chili Toast, which is about my life experiences up to my age of 11 when I wrote the book. So it's about how I felt through unique experiences. And I feel like that's how my life is. It's a mix of everything. It's a mix of gooiness, it's a mix of spiciness, it's a mix of crunchiness to make me.
Wow. So the life is creamy, the life is crunchy, and life is chili. So that's what she's wrote about. And two more important thing I would like to share. One is when she was writing a book, she did not touch 11. It was between 10 and 11. And second thing is she's Amazon best-selling author. So once she launched, this book hit number one chart because it's a wonderful book. So let's move to the next question. I saw the cover. I want all of you to go to the link in the description box. I've listed the link for her book, and you go and see the beautiful book cover is there. I want to know about the book cover. I see a lot of personas on the book cover. So you do horse riding. There's drama. There's a lot of things are happening. So can you talk about a lot of other things you do other than writing? Because we can see four or five images which talks
Yeah,
about your
so
hobbies.
as you can see as I said earlier, my book is about my life experiences. So the cover is trying to portray that, like what I'm doing. So, like, one of them is horse riding, which is something I used to do with my friends. Another thing is, like, for example, playing basketball. I don't know. And one of the pictures is me with a bunch of books. Those are my favorite books. Another picture is me fencing. That's the main picture. Fencing is a hobby that I do. That's basically when you have a sword and you fight with it. That's fencing. Another thing that I do is another picture up there is me dressed up for Halloween. I was a devil that year. All the pictures on the book show importance to me. They're like what I am. So that's why I put them up there. And then the colors that are up there, they show the different parts of me, so to speak.
Awesome. So, you know, on I want you to look at the cover as well as the name. Only name and cover speaks a lot. So, if though that's a powerful name and cover, I'm very happy to share that powerful content too. And we're going to talk about content too. Before that, I want to know, at this young age, what inspired you to write? Because a lot of kids or rather a lot of youngsters also don't think of writing, but what inspiration you got for writing?
So For this part, it's about when I was bored one day and I decided, hey, what should I do with my spare time? So a lot of it was thinking about reading my favorite books that I used to read and then bringing parts of them that I think could have changed a little bit and wrote them differently. That's what started giving my spark into writing. After that, when my mom found out that I write so much and some of my friends would write with me, she realized, you should publish a book. And I'm like, sure. And then met Mr. Kailash, who obviously helped me publish the book and helped me get the whole process done. And without him, I probably wouldn't have done anything of the sort.
Thank you. So what a wonderful and powerful thing she shared with us. When you read a lot of books, and some of the books you found, can you rewrite in your own words? Maybe because you can make that more simpler. Maybe you can make that more profound. And if you have read ever any book which you feel that it's a wonderful book and you should be rewriting the book for people's benefit. So I think you have instinct in you for writing. So,
Thank you.
so let's go to the next question. I want to know, Meher, book writing process for a lot of people takes a lot of time, and I know it was very short journey for you to write. So, and it's quite kind of world record. I can say because I've worked with 15,000 plus authors. So I wanted to share how many days you've finished the book writing process and how you got the courage and maybe instincts to get this in very small amount of time.
So when I started writing the book, I knew I didn't have much time. So for me, there was two things that really drove me. The fact that I could be an author, I could have my name on a book that could sell across the world. That's a possibility. Maybe that didn't happen, but it was amazing, for one. And for two, the fact that I was writing a book really pushed me past my boundaries to realize that I can do something. I can write a book. I can do all these things that I thought I couldn't do before. And I think that's what really let me go to the next level of writing that fast and finishing a book in 8 or so days. 7.
8 days.
8 days. Yeah.
7, 8 days. So let's say 8 days. So 8 days.
Mhm.
Can you believe it, listeners, right now? So 8 days she finished writing a book. And if Meher can finish writing her book in 8 days, you can do too. She's the example. She's the inspiration for all of us that, writing is possible. Only you just need to be driven to it. Consistency is required and a lot of hard work. Another thing what I learned when I was working with Meher is book writing not only helps you write and publish the book, but it builds a different character. But I know, 8 days, compressed time, Meher, her mother, and we used to, sit maybe sometime every day to talk and see. But maximum work was supposed to be done by her. We were just guiding, and she was supposed to do everything, and a lot of hard work. And I would also like to give a lot of gratitude from my side, though we'll be talking about it, to Jagrati, because Jagrati is Meher's mother, and she has put in a lot of effort. And I've been requested to take her interview too, because uh, kids are nothing without the parents, and I would definitely talk to her and get her interview too. How did she made this happen? That she's grooming Meher wonderfully as a wonderful human. So we'll talk separately on that. I'll request Jagrati to come on the interview show once and share her secrets with her, how she's doing it. But a lot of hard work of Meher and Jagrati, which came in, and it was a beautiful journey because she was in Washington that time, and they were flying to India, and there was a plan to India. So I don't want to disclose the plan. Let Meher share it. So when the book writing was happening, so we had a timeline pressure, and 8 days was the time she finished it. But what happens after your book? And also I want to talk about the experience in the flight. I remember it's a long flight, and you were still working in the flight in the book. So share your flight experience coming to India and what happened in India.
So I remember I was really nervous at this point. So I only had 2 days left. So this was day 6 when we were on the plane. So the book was supposed to be finished in 2 days. And frankly, I hadn't even done half of it yet. So I was worried because we had a timeline. I had to finish it. And so my mom was like, it's okay. You're going to have like 16, 17, I don't know, 20 hours on the plane to write your book. So I was like, yeah. So on the plane, I had to change up. So earlier I was using some app, which I could only use through Wi-Fi to write my book. So I had to go onto Word and use it without any like Wi-Fi. And I had to like copy and paste and like redo it. So my book was half of it was on one separate file and the other half was on some file. So everything was mixed around. And in my brain, it was a panic, but it just seemed not at all. So I remember going on the plane, having to write so much. Then we landed in India, right? And then, you know, you have to see your aunties, you have to see your uncles, you have to see your buas, you have to see your daddies, you have to see everybody. So we landed in India. And then this time we wanted to travel India a little bit before we came back. So we went to Varanasi, which is a place in India. And when we went there, I didn't get much vacation time. I had to write so much, but it was my last chapter and I was determined to finish it within the day. So that day, I did not go out at all. I was just writing furiously on my computer. And yeah, so it was a fun experience. However, I'm not gonna lie, it was a stressful time, but now that I look back on it, it was fun just trying to do all that.
It's a wonderful thing. So I would like to share book writing process makes you a different person. Rather, everything you do in life, whether you go to school or to college, you work in organization, you take projects, life is all about becoming a character, a powerful personality or a character, which Meher is being doing for a lot of things. But book writing also taught her that, you know, determination is very important. Another very important thing she's sharing is it was stressful, but it was fun. Let me tell you, stress is part of life and stress is not always bad. Sometimes stress is good. And if you have chosen the stress to grow, because growth would require stress. How many of you relate to it? You know, when the baby is born, the 9 months, mother keep the baby in the womb. It's a stressful time for a mother. She can't eat, she can't walk, she can't do anything. And the pain she goes through when baby is born. It's a stressful time, but when she sees baby in the hand, it's all pain goes, all pain and running. So stress is good in life. Only you choose your stress. Meher chose her stress of book writing. She chooses her stress in other areas too. But as far as you're choosing a stress to grow, it's a wonderful thing to do in life. And if you don't choose a stress, stress will choose you anyhow. So choose wisely. So that's a wonderful learning. So Meher, I want to share my bit of it. So it was a book launch plan in Jammu, and it was a funny thing. When I landed in Jammu, I didn't knew that prepaid connections don't work, and I was somehow struggling to find Meher's mama who came to pick us up for the launch. And why I'm sharing it's a good memory to me. So it was initial struggle to find him, but we somehow found each other as soon as I entered it was in Press Club of Jammu, and when you entered, I really remember that paparazzi, a lot of cameramen, mics, and clicking happening. Meher was sitting on the main interview table, and I just joined. The memory I still have very fresh in my mind. I want Meher to share your memory about book launch event happened in Jammu.
So I remember going to the press club, and I remember that we came a little bit late because that's just the way we are. I have never been to an event on time in my life. I can tell you that. And so we came to the press club. It was book launch day. I was very excited and very nervous. We went there, and people were cleaning up from the last event. And we came in there, and it was amazing. I'm not gonna lie. They had the big cheese chili toast poster on one side. There was they were putting up a computer for Zoom for people who couldn't come actually there, and it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And yeah, so I remember coming there, and Mr. Kailash, he was coming in the plane. Obviously, he had to drive there. So then the paparazzi were there. They were like holding up their mics here. They were putting their mics here. There was books here, and everybody was sitting down. So I remember having to answer questions that everyone was asking me that day. So since I was short compared to the podium, they had to put up some stacks of like stuff so that I could stand on top of the podium so that people could actually see me and I wouldn't have to tiptoe and look all tall. I remember that, and it was a very nice experience, like answering questions about your book, the book that you wrote, that people helped you so much with, and now you're here, you're getting pictures taken by paparazzi, and you're answering questions, and you're getting put on the news. It was a surreal experience.
Do you remember any touchy or emotional moment from that day which is very fresh to you till day? Any question, anything? Well, I know your Nana Nani, Dada Dadi, your family, everyone was there. So
everybody was there so I remember, like, after it was done, after everything was done, I remember how happy everybody was. They were like, you did this, congratulations. And I remember how happy I felt with all that. Like, I felt very proud of myself. I feel like that's the first time that I actually felt proud of myself for this achievement, with everybody telling me. And I just felt really happy that everybody else was happy. And it felt really good that time.
Let me share my moment. After the event, we were all together. We were just celebrating, and Meher's Nani came to me and she says, Kailash, I want to write book for many, many, many years. Maybe 50 years, 40 years I've been thinking to write a book. Now Meher has inspired me. And now she is published, I want to publish my book too. So when you can inspire your grandparents from the act you do, that was the most touchy moment for me. And I was so proud of, so happy about Meher's act, which made everyone happy. But there was inspiration also in the family. So it's an awesome thing. So I want to divert the discussion towards the book now. So I want to know, Meher, what's this book all about? So what have you written in the book? Like when you say experiences, can you give a little example of what kind of stories you've written?
So there's stories that many people think are normal events in my life that were actually very different from my point of view. Like, there are stories of when I went to tennis camp. There are stories of when I had COVID-19, which is very serious at the time I had it. There's a story of, let me think, a lot of stories in there. There's stories of how I went to fencing camp. There's stories of how I played badminton and cricket for the first time. All sorts of
story. My favorite one is when you went to some countryside camping with your friends and family for some vacation or some short trip. That I remember was my.
Yeah, that was the one. I think that was the one. Oh yeah, I went to stay, I think. And we went outside, and then me and my friends, we decided to make lemonade that day, freshly squeezed lemonade, except we didn't, so we used limes instead. And that was a fun experience. And I remember we were so bored at that time. We were doing nothing. We were just lying around. And then we decided, hey, let's make some lemonade. So we decided, we squeezed the lemons, we put the water in, we put sugar, we mixed it, we did all that stuff. And and the next time I made lemonade, I did not use actual lemons. I used some lemon juice. I didn't use actual lemons. But that is. So I remember, so all of them are short stories of how I felt during that time and stuff like that.
I want all of you to go to description box, click on the link, buy the book, because there's so much purity in the stories. When you read a story, it'll take your own memory lane, take your childhood, your moments of your life, when you reconnect a lot of things in your life, and you'll feel happy, you'll smile. So that's the power of her book, that it's so simple to read, that even 7 years, 6 7 years, a kid who can read can also understand. It's so powerful and pure that it'll connect back, because there's a lot of emotions in every story. There's a lot of learning how she looked at that particular day, how she felt. So it's a lot of emotions packed. So when you read it, her emotions will touch you. It'll trigger your emotions, and you look back your life, and some moments will get connected. So please go ahead and read that book, and leave your review on the Amazon link. Once you do that, let us know. If you have a question to Meher, she has a website, she has email ID. I will also share her email ID in the description box in case you have a question, you want to connect to her for anything, then you can definitely connect. If you want to get inspiration from her, definitely you can write an email and she would reply to your mails too. Now, Meher, I want to ask you a very important question. Though I know you have a very good attitude of gratitude. You always give gratitude to things, people in life. So I want on record, on the camera, I know you always do, but on record, on camera, I want to ask you who all people you would like to give gratitude in your life, and book writing, who've been very important part of your journey, who gives you strength. So who are those all people?
I would say my mom, for sure. If I didn't include her in this, that would be crazy. She's the one who propelled the entire agenda. And I want to thank my dad, because even though he was busy during the book thing, he stayed up late at night just to talk to me in India. He really was there with me and he helped me out. I want to thank all of my friends who were big, important parts in this book. And I want to thank my friends who helped me with writing. And most importantly, I want to thank you, of course, because you're the one who published my book. You're the one who, without you, I wouldn't have a book right now and I wouldn't be doing this interview. I want to thank all of my family in India, because without them, there would be no reason to do the book launch. And everybody out there, whoever contributed to my book, if I'm not saying your name right now, I just want to know this is for you. So thank you very much.
Yes, I would also like to specifically highlight Anuradha. She, because their numbers were not working, and Anuradha, uh, she's your bua, right? Bua,
He's my bua.
father's sister. So her number was working. She was with them. So I was constantly in touch with Anu for a lot of updates, and a lot of gratitude to Anu, because she made communication happen between us when we were not able to speak to them. So thank you, Anu, for all your support. A different question to you, Meher. I know when we connected first time, it was not for this book. There's another book as a friend you were writing. I want to give advice to all the friends for the first book which you're talking, as well a lot of other kids or other people, other authors who think a lot, but somehow they get stuck and book never happens. So what advice would you like to give to authors or writers who are writing, not yet published, so they can finish writing?
I would say
You're senior. You're a senior author now. You have already written,
yeah.
published. So you can give advice. Yes.
I would say it takes a lot of hard work and perseverance. If you don't try, you won't get anywhere. So to people who are hesitating, waiting to get out there, you don't have to wait. Like, just put your stuff out there and just try. Like, feel it from. So if you write a book and you're not sure if you want to publish it, or if you're not sure you even want to write it anyways, publish it anyways. Do whatever makes you happy. And who knows, maybe you could become an Amazon bestseller or the best seller in the whole world or something. Because writing books is phenomenal, especially after you get your book and you feel it in your hands. All of that is nothing. Once you get your book and then you see it, you feel like all your hard work is worth it.
So, do you remember when you saw your book first time in your hand? How was your feeling? Do you remember that moment? Where was that? In Jammu, right?
Yeah. So we were at a restaurant, and earlier that day, because I was living at my dadu dadi's house, my grandparents' house, in the meanwhile. So I was there, and I remember a package came, but I didn't really think too much about it. So when we went to dinner that night with all of my grandparents from both sides of my entire family, I went there and they had brought the package with them. And then that day I learned that it was actually my book. And it was crazy, personally.
Mm.
It was there in front of me. I could feel the pages. I could flip through it. I could see the words that I had written down. They were in ink. They were in print. They were there. And that was an amazing feeling to me. I felt so happy that time too, that I can see what I've done, that I can see the actual, what I've done. I can see the hard physical copy of what happened. Like, for example, in school, you do an essay, and then maybe you don't really see what happened to that essay. But here, I wrote a book, and I see what happened to that book. I saw it become a printed book and something important, and that, for me, was the best thing.
Awesome, because things happen in mind first, then you get in on the. So I believe in there are three worlds. One is the world of mind, which goes inside, and the world of computers, where we both are talking right now, and there's a physical world, which is a real world we call. So what she did is she had a stories and mind things in mind. She got it on the computer, which we do a lot for a lot of places. But getting that to a physical world, getting that to physical world is very important thing. We got that to physical world. It requires immense energy to convert what you have in the mind on the physical world. But in the process of book writing, publishing, you learn that, and then everything is possible. After that, you can convert this. You can do this to anything in your life. Think of it and get it happen in the physical world. One more question, Meher. I ask this question usually to all the authors. So when you are writing a book, world doesn't know that you are writing a book. When book publishes, people know that book is published. And do you see the way people look at you, the perception of people changes after the book is published, and what happens when they know that you are an author? Maybe people who already knew you, so the change in the perception, or the new people. So would you like to share some thoughts on that?
So in Washington, where I moved from, I live in California now. So over there, that's when I published the book. That's where I lived. So then what happened is that people definitely started acting a little bit differently. Like, people were like, oh yeah, I read your book. I heard about your book. I did this, I did that. And that was definitely a little bit to get used to. Like, hearing people say, oh yeah, I write too. Yeah, there's definitely some people who are a little jealous, obviously, but it was kind of weird because at school, nobody really knew me. And then suddenly there was people who knew me out of nowhere. And that was definitely the weird part.
So did you see the change in teachers' behavior, or at
Yeah,
least, they expect
I
more from
definitely
you?
I definitely got, teachers knew me more. Teachers liked me more, I'd say too. So that was different. Definitely a huge difference. And yeah, there's
So
that.
one,
And
so one last question from my side is, finding a publisher is difficult. Rather, finding a right publisher is very difficult, who can be giving you the right information and right platform. So I want to talk about Wings. I want you to talk about Wings Publication and their support. How was entire journey of book writing and publishing with them?
honestly, I felt like I had to do nothing. They did everything for me. Like, the pages, the formatting, the getting the book ready, all of that was them. I feel like I had to do such a minuscule part compared to that. That's what I felt like, because all of that part was completely covered. Like Wings Publishing did such an amazing job. Like, I would recommend it 10 out of 10 for any author. Like, it was a very easy process. Like, all I had to do was answer a few questions. Would you like your book cover to be like this or like this? And I would simply point out which one. And then boom, that was done. I had to say, what color pages would you like? I would like this color. What size pages would you like? I would like this size. And that's it. Then they made everything, all my dreams, come to life. And that, I think, is the most important part.
Awesome. Thank you. So we always call in the Wings that we do not publish books, we publish dreams. So we need to make it happen the way author wants. And that's why we ask a lot of questions, but we want to match up the mental frequency of an author. That's why we do it. As well as she said rightly, that your job as an author is just to give us your manuscript in a Word file. From there to getting this book across world and getting marketing, branding, publishing, everything happens by Wings Publication. This is a company which is created for authors, by authors. I'm an author too, so for authors and by authors is Wings Publication all about. And I would like to thank everyone for listening. Thank everyone for being with us on this interview. Thank you very much. I want you to go to description box, click on the link, go and buy Meher's book, read it. You'll love it, you'll enjoy it, and after that, give a review to her book on Amazon. That feedback would inspire Meher and us to do a lot of good work again, second time, third time, fourth time. If we get a feedback, we get a positive feedback, that would inspire me, that would inspire Meher to come up with the second book soon. So thank you very much for listening to us. I would also like to thank Meher for getting time. I know she's in US, I'm right in Dubai, and we are different part of the world, time matching, a lot of things had to do, but I'm very happy, Meher, that you could get time to speak to all of us, not only to me, and share your insights, and created a wonderful memory together today. This would always be there on digital platforms. So thank you, Meher, for joining in. And I
Thank
would
you.
also like to thank Jagrati, because she puts in a lot of efforts. I talked to her a lot about Meher and her journey and the book. And today interview, also I was talking to her a lot. She's still driving, I know, coming back from office. So thank you, Jagrati, for all the support to Meher and to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye all of you, and see you soon again. And I'll bring Jagrati on the interview session soon. Bye-bye.